Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Somewhere. All right, it is TGIF. It's the end of the week for Europe. Asia is already closed for Europe. We're looking at the last, I guess you could say, 7:32. So we're looking at the last 4 hours, basically, of the European trading. Um, Markets have been quiet. Metals have been sideways down, except for gold. It's been very firm. And looking at the bonds, we're actually seeing bonds trying to get into a weekly buy on the 10-year. So that's a very positive thing, to see that get going. That means that interest rates are dropping. And, that's the part of the process. You see, crude oil finding a way to be a little bit more minus this morning than it was, last couple days. Just a little pressure here and there. The economy here in the States is really picking up. People are really getting involved. We're seeing that day in and day out right now, which is really, very interesting. What else can we say about this? Let's see. Let me just double check the sound. We'll find the sound and see how we're doing there. There we are. And let's try the sound and make sure that we got some good sound going. Let's see, where's that? Do we hear good sound yet? I don't hear any good sound. Let's see. Oh, I know what it is. I don't have it up there. So let's see. This. Where is it? There it is. Live streaming. Okay, so I pushed on the rope. There we go. All right. Excellent. Just making sure that there's sound there. So, yeah, we're seeing a lot of positive action. Yeah, a lot of positive action. Today is one of those days in the United States where people do lots of shopping. It's right after our Thanksgiving. It's basically the end of November going into the Christmas season. So we see a lot of shopping going on. Let's see what else. Stock indices are firm this morning, looking firm. Minus the Tech 100. Tech 100 just a little weak again. It is trying to bounce, but it's looks like it's in the minus just by a little bit. Let's see if we can show you that. What we have up there, we're looking at I was looking at the biotech index, but here's the 10-year bond, and right there, and you can see it is pushing to get into the weekly buy. Looks like it's going to do it with no problem, especially with the way you can see right here how much, we've been in a daily buy for a couple of weeks. It's like now you see all this green. I'll just show it to you right there. So interest rates, when this is going up, this is the price of the bond, the interest rate is dropping. So what I mean by price of bond, it means what you pay for the bond, and then as you buy that bond, and they give you interest. Yes, yeah. I know that gets a little unique in Europe sometimes, but overall, that's what's going on there. And you can see our algorithm right here has been just, you can see there's 5 days there. There's, what is that? That's 5 days there. So basically, 10 out of the last 11 days, it's been in a buy. And you can see right here on the actual chart, daily chart, you can go back. There is no red dot. So that day where it was down in the minus, if we'd had a red dot, that would have put it in a sell, but it didn't. So it's in the buy. And at the same time, it's been giving you a good warning because you can see the weekly. And the weekly has been in a sell. And it's turned up this week. So we're seeing the strength come in, which means interest rates are dropping. There's speculation that there may be some cut. It's an interesting dance the Federal Reserve, our central bank, is doing. They're trying to decide. Maybe they're starting to. I guess they don't have much of a choice. They have to be kind of honest with the market now. So what we're really seeing is that we have the growth in labor people being hired has been government jobs for the last 2+ years, 2 years and 4 months now. And the private sector, like, General Motors, or, like a British Aerospace, or, a Royal Dutch Shell, in the private sector, they've been dropping. In other words, they have not been hiring in the private sector. It's only been government jobs. So it's basically tax dollars that are pushing the market up, not anything else. So when you look at the labor statistics coming in, that's the big question mark for money managers. Do they buy bonds or do they not? And they basically think that if labor statistics drop, in other words, less people are working, then interest rates will go down, not up. They'll go down. The Fed will try to mark them down to get more business going. Under Mr. Trump, it kind of works a little bit different. He lets the markets do that more, and what they do is they just reduce policy. So in other words, if they're taxing private businesses and they're putting policies and rules to make it harder for them to be in business, what they do is the Republicans believe in dropping a lot of the regulations, solely because the regulations don't really have any. Sometimes they don't really have any practical meaning, and so that will power the economy with less inflation and more growth, and everybody gets paid more. So I know that's really odd. In the 21st century, to be able to have to explain that seems odd to me, but we still have a lot of people that are very much what we call social Marxists, and they're really into the idea. They think that basically socialism, communism, Marxism is the better way of running an economy. Obviously, it can't be, because if it was, the United States wouldn't dominate the world in business and economy. We're only 360 million people, and so there's no way we would dominate 7.5 billion people if our economic system was off course. So that's like in my mind, that's a foregone conclusion. It's so obvious. So when you reduce regulations, when the regulations mean nothing more than, say, for political reasons, that opens the doorway for growth. Matter of fact, that's one of the problems with. Notice how the Federal Reserve raised interest rates from, I guess it was a half a point or 1.25 or something like that, right around there. And they had to raise them all the way up to 5%. It was one of the biggest jumps we've seen in interest rate increases in the United States. A 0.5%, 5 or 6 times, something like that, to get up to that 5.5 area. They believe you have to hurt the economy to get rid of inflation, which is a really odd concept anymore, because we've already proven decade in and decade out, when Republicans get into office, they help the economy by reducing regulations and taxes, not increasing it. Also, at the same time, as much as the social Marxists here believe raising taxes is good, we find that when you raise taxes, you get less tax money. That's the weird part, and why they don't want to accept that. Matter of fact, what was interesting is Mr. Biden could have fought with the interest rates. They had the power of the House. They had the power of the Senate. They could have fought and raised interest rates, and not interest rates, I'm sorry, tax rates, and they didn't. They left them alone, because every year there was record money coming in. At the same time, they campaign telling us that there isn't. That's the weirder part, is that they won't change the policy, but they campaign telling you that it doesn't work. But here we have, like, last year was the largest amount of money ever received in taxation in American history. The year before that was the record. And it keeps on going like that. When you reduce taxes and regulations, you open up the economy. And when you don't, the economy falls apart. So, and that's what we're seeing in the sales and so forth right now, even with Mr. Trump only being in office, or not even in office yet, but the president-elect for like the last, 25 days, I guess it is now. 24 days. That's what it is. 24 days now. He's been the president-elect. And we're seeing our economy turn. It's starting to turn really quick. People are seeing stats changing and more orders, and because they're anticipating the reduction in regulations and taxation and so forth. Anyhow, that's where we are, and that's why we're looking at the bond there. You can see the bond on the weekly is leaping up right now, and you can see on the daily it's been going like that. There's the election right there. And you see that's almost like a bottom when we put that up on the screen. That was the election right there, and you can see there was some strength, a little selling off a little bit in here again, and then basically now it's been in a buy for 10 out of the last 11 days, just lifting up. All right, now from there we'll go over to the dollar index. Remember, dollar currency pairs all are governed by a combination of interest rates, inflation. These are the fundamentals. Interest rates, inflation, and GDP or productivity. And then obviously, military situation and so forth. But I guess the Israeli index doesn't really reflect that. With all the military thing going on over there, their stock index has been ripping through the roof, going up into the moon. So obviously, it's not always. I guess it depends on how good you are with the military. Matter of fact, it was really interesting. They just threw it up on the picture. Claudine Sheinbaum Pardo, the new the new president of Mexico, or she's been president now for I guess a year. And Mr. Trump gave her a call and thanked her for giving him a compliment. And then he said, I'm going to, as president, I will raise a tariff 25% if you don't stop these illegal aliens coming across your border. And she said, well, that's not good economically, but you have a good point, and now we're going to put the army there and stop them. So even with him not as president at the moment yet, he's just president-elect, his ideas and policies are sliding into the economy really, really quick. All right, now let's get over to the dollar index and take a look at that. And that was a good example too. The Mexican peso, which we used to watch. Remember, Mexico was threatening, I guess you could call it that, to go into the BRICS. And I thought at the time it would have been the most active BRIC. I mean, it's an oil country. It has about, I guess, a production of 4 or 5 million barrels a day. They border the largest economy in the world. The United States is very, very Latino in activity. They've been here, and many, like I guess New Mexico has half its population is Latino from the Spanish countries in South America, and basically, and that's all because of Christopher Columbus, and back in 1492 when they discovered the New World. And the West Indies, what they call the West Indies today, the Caribbean, they discovered basically South America. They didn't discover North America. But we do celebrate Columbus as the discoverer of the whole region. That's how we look at it. So let's go take a look at, where was I headed? I was heading for the dollar index. Let's put the dollar index up there, right there. And here it is. And the dollar index, a little weakness again for the last few days. You can see we're in a sell for 4 days now, but the weekly is still very firm right there. You can see that right where I'm going up and down. Let's just move this over so it kind of matches up with the screen. This is the wonderful part about the new platform. You have potential to always take a look at a closer look. And so you can see we went into the sell right there. And you see it right there. We're in a sell. Let's just refresh that one more time. I shouldn't have expanded it until I refreshed it. Here it comes. It'll refresh it, and then we can put the cursor on it, and it'll show us the day. So you can see right there is the 11th. And you can see right there is, no wait, I'm sorry, not the 11th. The 26th, and that's the 26th. So it's been in a sell. See, it broke the zero line there. And you can see we're still in the weekly buy, though, and I'm not totally convinced that this is anything more than a dead cat bounce. No. I'm sorry, profit taking, not a dead cat bounce. It's definitely profit taking. This would be a dead cat. Well, it could be a dead cat bounce in the sense that I don't think there's that much action going to be on the downside. I think they're going to still hold on to the dollar. Dollar money is going to come more and more as regulations and a hindrance to growth disappears under Mr. Trump. You're going to see money coming to America from other countries to invest. So, all right, from the dollar index, we'll jump up over to, let's take a look at the euro. See how the currencies are doing this morning. And here we go. Let's put it up on the screen there. There's a prelude. Look at that. South African rand is gaining against the dollar there this morning. Let's take a look at the euro. And let's widen that out. We've been looking back just to see the how accurate, how successful. Trying to show you the success of the math itself. Let's put a buy in there from now. It's the third day in a daily buy, right there. Yesterday the markets were quiet here, but they were trading the electronic market, and you can see there's the strength there. All we need now is to see the weekly. You see the weekly's been in that sell for a while here. We just need to see the weekly try to start to get, and you can see fast is breaking the manifold right there. And so we'll see when, like next week we might see, the histogram way above, getting closer to the zero line if we see some lift up into here. I would think if we challenge the blue Fibonacci number, the 0.23, I would think then we would see that action. All right. Let's see. Where do we jump from here? Let's take a look at the British pound. And maybe we'll take a quick look too. It is oh, look at that. Look, it's battling back up to that line, that's for sure. And it's in a buy for 3 days. And it's trying also to get up to the zero line right there. So looks like next week's business, as they would say in the hedge fund industry. Let's take a look. It's been interesting. Let's see. Let's see, what is it? Petition. There we go. Let's see where they're at today on the petition. The petition was up to almost 3 million going into yesterday, I guess it was, when we looked at it. Let's see. General election petition 2024. MPs debate petition calling for another election. Over 2.8 million was yesterday. Let's see what they have for today. I don't see any change in the numbers. Maybe they're just tired of paying attention to it. It just makes them even more upset. Petition to call general election. That's the 25th. Let's see if there's a couple hours ago. No, nothing there. Let's see. General election. Let's see. England's. Let's put England on there. I would think they're over 3 million at this point. There we are. Let's see if that shows up. Let's see. Not 2 days in. They don't seem to want to be updating it anymore. I guess that must be meaning that it's embarrassing them. All right, so that's the general election petition news. It's a UK general election. No. Okay. So they're just trying to hide it at this point. But I would assume it's over 3 million at this point now. And all it took was 100,000 for sure to get it down So I guess the next news we're really going to be watching for is to see where they, if they're going to do a general election or not, and that'll basically freak them out even more over there. UK, St. Bink, UK. Petition. That's all. Okay. So there's the British pound off its highs for today. That's for sure. You see that right there. What else can we say about that? I guess nothing. Let's jump over to Swiss. Swiss is still a third day in a sell. In other words, everybody's trying to gain a little bit against the dollar, so that's good. Let's see. Oh, here we go. There's a prediction. Let's see what they say there. Current prediction: Labor short 15 of the majority. How about that? So the polls are showing that if they do have an election, they will lose. The bigger question is who's going to win. I think Farouche. Oh, look at that. Let's see. Where's Tories? Conservatives 24 point. Let's see. Labor 34. Liberals 12.6. Reformed. Yeah. I don't know what they call Nigel's party, but it should be very interesting. Very interesting. All right. The Swiss. They seem to have gotten control over their inflation. It's not even getting up into the 90. That's really nice. They've really done all the right things to control the inflation. They saw their currency go all the way up to 101, 1.01 or 1.1. Yeah, 1.01, almost 1.02. It's come down as low as 0.83 and a half, and now we're at 0.88. Where's it at this morning? 0.88162. So they're really done a good job of keeping it far, far away from the 90, and 0.90, and definitely past the 101 area. So let's see. Team is committed to me. There we are. All right, now from there we'll go over to the yen. The yen, not bad. I think I mentioned this yesterday or the day before. I really think that Japan is going to benefit enormously from growth in the United States. I think that really there's a strong feeling that Japan, now that they've unwinded that $20 trillion carry trade by the government, it could open the doorway for growth. It could be, with a growing American economy, we are the engine. Everybody else is like the train. Cars of, and oil, and like a train going by you, having all kinds of things on it, coal, and also people. It just seems like that's what it is that the United States is the engine. All right, and then from there, we take a look at Turkish lira, the great experiment, and it's a third day in a buy. And let's see, where's the zero line? The zero line is right there. We're still well underneath. We're 10 weeks now in a sell, going on 10 weeks. Fantastic, success going on there as far as I'm concerned. Anytime your currency can go down 2 or 3 handles, when you were trading at 1.0 and now you're trading at 36.0, anything down is good. Anything down is good. And then what we do is we saw South African Rand. It's trying to move down, so we'd expect to see gold firm again. And firm has been, I guess the best way to describe gold is it's firm or sideways, but it's been bouncing up the last couple of days. It's trying, one day it was up $30. By the end of the day, it was only up about 15.5, 16. And the next day, it was up $4 or $5, and then it was up like maybe 6 or 7 by the end of the day. And today, it's definitely firm. It's up. Let's show you what it's doing. There is gold right there. And you can see also now we're in the February gold. And you can see this is the second day in the buy. Yesterday it went into the buy. But we're still in the weekly sells. So we just see this as more of a dead cat bounce. I think that, all the political turmoil, or I guess you could call it the military political turmoil in Europe is definitely not anything that's helping out, making people want to sell gold. Instead, they want to buy it. As we take a sip of our tea there. Here's March silver. You can see March silver is trying to get into the buy today right there. But again, here we have four full weeks now in the sells. So I don't see this as anything major. But when you have like a U.S. bomber that's stationed in England, flying along the Russian border, it makes things crazy. It definitely makes things crazy. Mr. Trump, thank goodness, is not a warmonger, so we don't have to, think of him like a Cheney or a Biden or something like that who wants war all the time and wants to be a part of it. You can see here, this is copper. This is also the March copper contract, and it also is trying to lift up. We're definitely getting some strength into everything, and that's because we see the rand, right? Where's the rand? We see the rand right there. Where's the rand? See the rand right there, trying to move down against the dollar. Now we don't know. We've seen some of the issues that are going on in the South Africa. They're having some problems. We talked about it yesterday about Nelson Mandela, and how the currency went like the way Turkey's did. Once the Marxists and the communists got control of the country, or totalitarian, however you want to say it, for fascist, whatever it is you want to call them. You see the currency went from like 2.5 to almost 5 under Mr. Mandela. So it doubled. That's a big inflation. And then we saw the same thing the next time around. As much as they sold it down, the next thing you know, it went to 13. We showed you that. And then from the next day, the next president, they have 6-year terms, same way like Mexico does. We saw it go from 13 up to 20. And so it's been vacillating between the 20 area now over the last 18 years. Let's see, Nelson Mandela was 97, so we're at 27 years. And then I guess it's not Mugabe, but what was his name? Bhutto, who controls the Marxist side of the ANC party. And so now they're separate and they're not part of the government. And at the same time, he is outside the country because of his violence. He's been seen killing people himself personally. So he's not president anymore. He finished his term, and there was a lot of battling, and the Zulus were really battling against him, and they succeeded. And so now we have what you call down in South Africa is a coalition government, where you have moderate ANC, so they're just like socialists, not Marxists, and you have the conservative old Afrikaners, and then you have the Zulus, and you have one more tribe. There's 2 indigenous tribes, Zulus, and I forget what the other one is, but they always had full votes. That's why we know that apartheid was not a racist thing; it was an illegal immigration thing, giving illegal immigrants a half a vote. So that was the bad thing. So matter of fact, that's how, like, when you were Japanese and you moved to South Africa, you would be classified as a temporary white because you were a legal immigrant, and they got a full vote. It had nothing to do with racism, or they wouldn't have given the Japanese or the Zulus or the other indigenous tribe there full votes if it was racist. So it's, for some reason, people don't realize that. I don't know why. Numbers stick out in my head all the time. It's pretty obvious. Numbers are the answer. If the numbers are right, then it is really the answer. And usually the numbers are, I usually look at the right numbers. That's what it comes down to, not the fake numbers. All right, so from the South African Rand, we've seen the metals. And, let's do copper. I don't think we saw copper. There it is. There's copper. So all three of those metals are trying to get into the daily buy today, but they're also, all three are in weekly sells. Let's check out the platinum. Platinum doing the same thing. So all four metals are trying to get into the buy as South Africa is selling down a little bit. And at the same time, the other, this metal, just like the other three metals, all are in weekly sells. And this is the 5th week. So we're not really getting, as far as I'm concerned, as much as it looks like they're starting to lift and show some strength. I'm not seeing it because I'm not seeing it in the weekly. And it's barely in the daily, let alone, it'd be one thing if it was 5 days in a daily buy. But in this case here, you can see gold still can't take, is not back up to that point right there, or this point right there up at the 2800 area. It's still underneath, excuse me, underneath second sneeze, 2700. Gold is not lifting up, still $100 and some odd off all-time high. So we've always watched that as definitely something to always pay attention to. From there, we go over to the energy sector. Let's see. All right, let's go to we'll go to the Brent. This morning when we sent the charts out, we saw the energy sector moving down. Let's see how it is this morning. It was down. It looks like it's still down, but you can see here, you see this trying to get in is through the zero line. The weekly's below the zero line, and we've got a green dot going on right here where they sold it down this morning on Brent, and now it's basically unchanged. Let's see what the West Texas Intermediate is doing. There we go. Just give it a refresh. And there is January oil. It's still a red dot. Does look like it's trying to bounce up. You can see this is the weekly is also in the minus, just like Brent. And today is trying to get into a buy right there. You can see this is picking up. It's getting through the zero line. And then we go over to here, and you can see we've been in a daily sell for 4 full days. Like that. And you can see they went down, made a new low from yesterday, and then now they've lifted up. So we see it up, what is that? So we're looking at, it settled yesterday on the American holiday at 68.88, and right now it's trading at 69.25, which is 37 pennies or 37 cents. So it's just up a little bit. All right. From there, we jump over to natural gas. Here's January natural gas. It's trying to bounce up the last 2 days. You see the histogram is minus still though, so it's been in the sell now for 5 days since right here, and you see it's played down. We got 2 green dots going on, but we're still not lifting. And at the same time, we were in a weekly buy, and you can see here we are. Let's just make that bigger. You see we are still in the weekly buy by a little bit. So you really are just trapped into a neutral position at the moment. There's no real direction going on. Daily is in a sell, weekly is in a buy. It's basically telling you to stand to the side, be neutral unless you actually need it, and then you can follow the short term. All right, and also the long term, you can see both of them the way they're acting. One's going one way, one's going the other. So then from there, we shoot back over to the refined product of heating oil right there, which some people call kerosene, some people call it diesel, and here in the States we refer to it as New York Harbor oil or heating oil. There we go. And you see that there. That started off this morning in the south side of things. And now it's lifting up a little bit. We are getting some nice cold weather. You can see we are 5 days in a cell. We're starting to generate a green. And we're in the weekly cell there, like the way crude oil is. And Brent. Both are trying to get into the weekly cell. I myself think that we're going to see more downside than upside, even with temperatures getting cold here in the States. Because they're anticipating, and that's what markets like to do. They like to anticipate. So I would imagine what we'll see is that they will take them sideways for a while, maybe a little pop from some cold weather, and then next thing you know, they'll be minus again. But that's what the weekly's trying to tell us. There's a potential there. It's been, you can see it's vacillated. 2 weeks in a cell there. Let's just show you what it's been over the last 6 weeks. So we were like 2 weeks in a cell, then we go into a buy. Go back to a cell, go into a buy, back into a cell. It's the weather and the election that's trying to define it at this point. And then we go over to Spain just to see what the energy company is doing down there, which has been firm. I think it's weekly sell, daily buy we've been seeing on the product. Let's see. Where is it at? E something. EM. EM something. Let's see, where are you? I'm probably going right by it and not realizing it. Where is it hiding? There it is, right there. Generating a red today, but you can see it's been in a daily buy for 6 days now. And it's trying to climb into the weekly. It's been in a weekly sell, I think, for like 7 or 8 weeks. So, and you can see it's had that downwardly, when you look at the product itself, you can see it's a downwardly slope, and we're trying to get a bounce out of it at the moment. That's why we're in the daily buy for a bunch of days. You can see here there was 3 days in the buy, then 3 days in the sell, and now you have 6 days in the buy. So you have 9 out of 12 days in buys. And now you have the weekly trying to get into a buy. So, this is the energy company down in Spain. So there'll be a little pressure in there until they start to see American natural gas coming in. I don't know what it takes ship-wise, time-wise, but I would imagine that Mr. Trump says on the 20th, he will sign an executive order. And those ships, who knows, they may even start filling them up and start sailing, and then next thing you know, you'll find them sitting like I don't know, like sitting like a day or two away from Europe out of nowhere. You won't know until we see it, but it doesn't surprise me, and especially when this government is ready to go out the door. It's going to go bye-bye. Crazy Bidenomics is going bye-bye. Alrighty. Here we go. There it is. You can see that for the last 4 days it's in a sell, coming down from the 28 area. We are now trading at the 27.45 area. Now that's a good size move. This stock has a great dividend, and they have enormous amounts of inventory. And you can see the weekly is trying to get into a sell right here after 3 weeks in a buy. That's why you saw all that strength there, because we jumped into the buy, and each daily buy was a winner chicken dinner. And then from there, let's take a look at, I think I saw strength in Shanghai. So let's see what Shanghai's doing. And Shanghai has a green, a couple days in a daily buy. You can see that we're 2 weeks in a sell, and it doesn't seem to want to change. I keep on thinking, do they know something about another stimulus that they haven't talked about? I mean, we've seen the Politburo, create new stimulus policy. So, obviously we think that the stimulus is almost non-existent, really, but it does excite some people. They think, well, I mean, I think we need between 25 and 30 billion in won as a stimulus, and so far the Chinese government has only seems to be willing to do about 3 billion in is it billion? No, trillion. I'm sorry, three. Yeah, 3 trillion. So they need 25 to 30 trillion in stimulus to get their economy going again, and well, and better policies and so forth. And all they've seen so far is only like 3 trillion, and that 3 trillion, 1.5 is into the market already, and the other half of it, 1.5 trillion, is going to be over a 3-year period. That's not good. They need to basically get in there and fix things to get the economy going. What else we got going on there? Let's go take a look at, see how Tokyo's doing this morning. There we are. And there you see, in buys, in and out for the last 4 days. It's 3 out of 4. It's in a buy, but it's not really going anywhere. And you can see it's moved into the sell side here, which is interesting. And like I said, I myself think that Japan will do better under Mr. Trump, not worse. So, I guess maybe this is the classic where you take them down to take them up type of thing. I don't know. We'll see. It could be literally, remember, we're getting ready to go into December. End of the year fiscal accounting is going to start influencing this stuff. We'll start to see from central banks around the planet to corporations prepping for taxes. And so that can have an influence the last 2 or 3 weeks of December. Let's go to, who do we go to next? Let's see. Let's go to Taiwan. Let's see what they're doing with the chippies. The chippies. There's Taiwan. I understand South Korea is under big snow. They've had a major snowstorm. You can see here's Taiwan. You're looking at 3, 5, and then another 3, 6, 8. So 5 and 8 is 13. So we're seeing over the last 14 days, 13 of them have been in cells on a daily basis. And when you go back, see, there's the 19th. What's that? That is the 18th. So basically, because that green dot was on a negative bar, and then when the bar here went plus, it was a red dot there. So because of that, see there's where the positive histogram on the 18th was in a cell still. So it's been in a cell. What did I say? 5 and 8 is 13 out of 14. So basically 14 days it's been in a cell. So you go back to the 11th, right here, went into the cell there, and has been in the cell ever since. And you can see we are in and out of weekly cells from that whole thing. So we were in a weekly cell during the beginning of that at the 11th, right here. And for 2 weeks it was in a cell from something like here all the way down to here. We went into a buy for here on a weekly, but stayed in the cell on the daily, and then we jumped back into the I mean, you can see at the beginning of the week we went right back into the weekly cell again. So it's been a successful signal, let's put it that way. From there we'll shoot over to, and remember traders, if you see something or you would like to see something, let us know. We'll go look it up and see how it looks inside our mathematics. So let's see what the Kospi is doing in South Korea. Like I said, they really got clocked by a bunch of snow. Some of the heaviest snow they've seen in 60 years, I think they said. And here is the Kospi. And you see, it's been in a daily buy all the way up until basically today. So it's all the way back to here since the 17th, right there, and started confirmed to buy right there. But at the same time, you couldn't really trade it for more than just a derivatives trade, not a naked long trade, solely because why, traders? We're in weekly sells. And being that weekly sell, you can trade it as a derivative, but you don't want to trade it as a naked raw delta or hard delta, a hard delta trade. All right, and then from there, let's take a look at Hong Kong. As we saw Shanghai firm for 3 days, let's see what Hong Kong's doing. There it is right there. Hong Kong been in a daily buy 2 for 3 days. Looks a little bit weaker, and at the same time 4 full weeks in a weekly sell. So you can't take the long. Only thing you can do is trade the shorts out of it all. And it's been a success since this sell point there on the 8th. There's right there. Yep, there's the sell. All right, what else we got going on here? Let's take a look at Singapore. I haven't seen Singapore. We haven't looked at Singapore in maybe a week. STI. STI. I think it's right near DAX. Yeah, it's it. Right near CAC actually, and DAX and all that, and FTSE. Here is Singapore, showing some strength the last 2 days, and it's in a weekly buy all the way up until, I guess it's like yesterday it started pushing to the sell. Interesting. On a weekly basis. It had been in a buy for this whole move here. Back on, what is that? The November 1st. And then let's jump over to, let's see, where do we go from here? That's Singapore. Let's see what Jakarta's doing. We haven't seen Jakarta in a while. We've been busy on some of these things because there's so much action going on in the market and trying to explain the process, as clear as possible. So let's see what Jakarta looks like. Maybe one of the largest oil producers in the South Pacific. Or the largest, let's put it that way. Jakarta. Right there. You can see last 3 days it's pressing down. It's been in a sell for 2, and it's been in a weekly sell for 4 full weeks. So every time it tries to even remotely act like it wants to go into a buy, it's been, it's been a don't do that type of thing, And we went into the weekly sell back in November 1st right here, and you can see we were in the short side of it. Let's see, where's November 1st there? Let's give it a refresh. All right, right there, and then there is, that's October 23rd, which is like right up in here. There's October 23rd. Right there, the next day we went into a sell. And was in a sell all the way out to here on, what is that, the 11th. Where's the 11th? There's the 11th, a couple days in a daily buy, but still in the weekly sell, so all you're trying to do is not be short. We didn't get another sell signal until literally right here. So you were just neutral, unless you were trading the binaries or options, and then you could play around with it a little bit if you want, because you have a good success rate that way. You can't get stopped out. And then we went back into the sell on the 26th, And where's the 26th? There's the 24th right there. So you went into the sell there, and it's been a nice little short for the last couple of days. All right, from there, let's see, that finishes us off on the South Pacific. Let's go take a look at where's the hangs the Nifty 50. We haven't seen the Nifty 50 in a while. Let's look at that. Ever since they went to India and went to the BRICS, is that it? That could be it. The Nifty 50. Yeah, and ever since they went to the BRICS, we've seen the product really fall down. It's been in weekly sells and daily sells mainly almost all the time. You see a little pop here with that, but we're in weekly sells. But the Nifty 50 has been really, really, just having a problem get going. You just double check that is the Nifty 50. I just want to double check that. There we are. Let's see what that is. Yeah, it's the Nifty 50. So ever since they joined up with, that was interesting. They had a PAL story there. Why Wall Street is betting on slower Fed rate cuts. Interesting. All right. So that's been interesting. Ever since they became, you got to figure between South Africa, the Nifty 50, and basically China, they are the bulk. Now that's the bulk of it. And I'm not even sure if I know that they negotiate. India does negotiate with the BRICS, but it's not exactly. I'm not sure how much they're really active with the BRICS, but they were at the conference and they pay attention and they're interested in, probably like anybody else would. I'd be interested to understand how they're clearing and what they're clearing and where you can trade. That's what the free markets are all about. So I'm not against the BRICS at all. I look at it as a emerging or a developing trading block. It may take decades to get it to work right, but we'll watch and see. All right, and then from there, let's take a look at the DAX this morning. Let's see, where's the DAX? DAX. There it is right there. There's the DAX. It seems to be a little firm now last couple of days, It's been interesting. It's still in a weekly sell. It's 5 full weeks now in a weekly sell, but it's been trying to lift up. The FTSE's doing that same thing. Matter of fact, I think the London FTSE is actually through the weekly. I think that was yesterday we saw that. There we go. Let's try that again. We'll give it a refresh. Yeah, see there? That's the second week in a buy. You see, so it's catching this whole move up. The math has been screaming now for a couple of weeks. Be long or be wrong. That's interesting to see the FTSE make that type of move. Let's see what they're doing with the CAC 40, just because of the strange political turmoil they're having. Yeah, it's still working its way down. There's a little pop here today, though. But look at it. It's been in a weekly sell for like 6, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. It is having a hard time getting into a groove when you can see here. They're trying to lock up the leading candidate. They're doing the same thing the Democrats tried to do here. Our social Marxist, the Democrats, they tried to lock up Mr. Trump, and it didn't work, and he had a landslide victory. And they're trying to do the same thing with Le Pen right now. They have a minority government of some twisted form. She was the largest vote getter, and they're trying to block her or her party, and now they're trying to arrest her and lock her up for having different ideas than the mainstream. Strange stuff there. So, we're done, traders. We will catch you all tomorrow, Monday. That's right. Today is TGIF. And what should we call this particular webinar today? I guess it could be, we were talking about the fundamentals of Forex. I think we'll put that up as the title today, because it seems to be appropriate. Oop, up there, go like that, and then like that, and then there we go. What's up? That's right. There we go. To the boss. Let's see. Oil and metals weak, gold drifting. Yeah, that was yesterday. And it has been. Now they're all of the metals today are trying to show firmness. We'll see how it ends by the end of the day. That's the bigger question. Forex fundamentals. And rates. Title. Exactly. There we are. So we got our title in there. Cool. All right, traders. This is Doc. Everybody have a safe and smart weekend. We'll catch you all on Monday. Same time, same channel. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. And remember, traders, let's see if I can find it. Where is it at? I had it in here. I think that's it right there. There is a webinar on Fibonacci in another half hour right there. So, if that's still going on, I think it's well worth tuning into here at Dukascopy. So, traders, ta-ta for now.